Yo, what up guys? Today I'm going to be showing you some of my favorite Titan loadouts that I like to use in PvE. Not really going to go into PvP since I'm not much of a PvP player in Destiny 2. Anyways, these loadouts are things that you guys see me use in things like speedruns, world's first attempts for raids, and even in casual play. These loadouts are good for all around the board PvE play. As long as you have most or all of these setups, you'll be good for almost any activity that Bungie throws your way. Before we get into the video, all I ask is if you enjoyed or find it helpful, leave a like on the video and let me know down in the comments section below. That's about it, boys. Let's get into it. Alright, so I'm going to start out with my favorite of the loadouts just in terms of fun. It is actually really OP, don't get me wrong, but it is definitely the most fun for me on Titan to use. Mostly just because of the new Sentinel subclass tree. This thing is really OP, especially with the controlled demolition perk, where it just chain kills enemies consistently. And when it's paired with the tractor cannon doing the extra 50% damage when you do boop them, it's actually really OP. Then the primary and secondary, you're going to see this a lot throughout these loadouts. I have the Midnight Coup, which is available from the Leviathan, as well as the Aikilo shotgun, which you can get from Escalation Protocol on Mars. So as you can see, that is exactly why I love this subclass. It's very good for small adds to clear, as well as the tractor cannon serves this purpose as well. Very good for small ad clear. But the tractor cannon is also really nice because it does have a double purpose. I'll fast forward to getting to the boss. So as you can see, the tractor cannon also has another use that I forgot to mention. It is also very good for staggering bigger adds when they're about to slash you or something like that. You can hit them with the tractor cannon, knocking them back, which is very nice, very useful. I'd say this loadout is probably my favorite for just trying to survive as well. Trying to survive in new activities is very important if you're trying to clear them as fast as you possibly can. With the tractor cannon at your side too, it allows you to, like I just mentioned, stagger those bigger enemies that are going to be coming to slash you and stuff like that, which is really nice because that can save you a lot of the time. As well as it being able to apply the extra damage capabilities with your team. There are two also very good substitutes that you guys can swap out in your heavy slot. The first of which is the Wardcliff Coil. The one thing to be careful about with the coil though is you can blow yourself up very easily, so make sure you're keeping your distance with this gun. But if used correctly, you can absolutely shred waves of adds as well as bigger enemies. And the other substitute is the 1000 Voices, which can be obtained via the Last Wish raid. This gun is very good for just about everything. You also got to be really careful with this gun too, because it can blow you up very easily. But as you can see, you swipe on the ground and it blows up everything in its path. This is very good for boss DPS as well as clearing the smaller tier adds. The really nice thing about this gun too is you can draw your path a lot easier, giving you more control as to where your bullets are gonna go versus the Wardcliff Coil, where it's just kind of random. You just gotta kind of pray that your bullets hit where you want them to hit. The second loadout would be more of a passive style loadout. You can substitute Sentinel for top tree Sunbreaker if you so choose, but I wouldn't go anywhere other than these two subclasses just because these are very good for ad clear as well as staying alive. The one thing to note about the Top Tree Sunbreaker 2 is you do have the Hammer Strike, which is the same thing as Melting Point from D1, where you shoulder charge a boss and you get a 50% buff in your damage. The one thing to note though is that it does not stack with the buff of the Tractor Cannon, so one of them will cancel out the other. Anyways, for more of this passive style, I would recommend using Whisper of the Worm. Especially if a boss doesn't move much and you're able to hit headshots easy. That way you're getting your free ammo back as well as an absolutely massive amount of damage. On the secondary slot, you can switch out your Aikilo shotgun for a sniper of your choice. I really like this Twilight Oath. This is the one I went into Last Wish with. Really like this sniper, but it just depends on your preference. If there are ads pushing you constantly, I would definitely recommend keeping the Aikilo shotgun around. That way you can spray stuff down that's coming towards you. For the primary, I would keep it the same as the Midnight Coup. You can switch it out for a pulse rifle. If you're going to use a pulse, I'd recommend the Chattering Bone, which is also from the Last Wish raid. The roll doesn't matter too much, in my opinion at least, just because this is a very solid pulse rifle and it doesn't need much adjustment. One place I found this loadout to be especially useful was in our first completion of the Last Wish raid. Obviously being severely underleveled it makes it harder to do the raid, but with this more passive loadout, it made it a lot easier to do. That way we weren't getting shredded by ads just by standing in the middle. We were able to sit back, snipe some stuff, use the pulse rifles, and that kind of stuff. If you're going into Last Wish for the very first time and you're underleveled, I would highly recommend using a setup like this where you use like a pulse, sniper, and then Whisper of the Worm if you have it. Very, very, very solid setup for your first run through. The last gun loadout recommendation I have for you guys is the Huckleberry. If you are for whatever reason not using an exotic in your heavy slot, this thing is the lawnmower for smaller enemies. It is very good for ad clear. I know I keep reiterating that a lot, but smaller ad clear is very, very important in PvE. That way you aren't getting teamed up by all the smaller stuff, and they can take you down really quick if you do not manage them well. The setup will be good for things like Escalation Protocol, or it's just tons of thralls running at you. You're never going to have to reload, which is a very nice feeling. Never going to run out of ammo. Now let's talk a little bit about armor. If you guys are doing anything in the Dreaming City, make sure you have armor on that has Transcendent Blessing or Riven's Curse. That way you're getting as much bonus damage as you can possible. Other than that, if you guys are doing something outside of the Dreaming City, I would definitely recommend using gear that has super mods on it. If you want to use all 5, it'll help you get your super back a lot faster. But other than that, I do not think the mods are really that useful. In my opinion, at least. You can put on whatever you want, but I've not found them to be helpful. One other thing you want to prioritize on your armor, if you're trying to balance everything out, is I would go for a lot of recovery / resilience. I would go more on the recovery side because we all know how Titans are. They're all slow and it feels like they take forever to recover. On armor in specific, I would look for armor pieces that have heavy ammo finder or special ammo finder on them. Those would really be the only things that I look for personally. You can look for perks that give you weapon loaders or allow you to hold extra ammo in a specific slot. But again, I do not find them to be as useful as I thought they would be. So again, I would just focus on making sure you guys have your blessings and Riven's Curse when you're doing stuff in the Dreaming City. Other than that, just focusing on having heavy ammo finders and energy ammo finders. There are only a few exotics that I would recommend you guys keep in your inventory at all times for your Titan. These are just for situational purposes, such as extending your super. A good example of this would be the first one I was going to talk about is the Doomfang Pauldrons. If you're running the Doomfang Pauldrons, it's mostly just to focus on ag clear again. Because as soon as you get a frisbee kill, it extends your super, and you can extend this out for like what feels like forever. And you're going to want to make sure you run the bottom tree sentinel just because of the second shield if you are using the Doomfangs. That way you can consistently just sit here and throw frisbees constantly. So the last thing I want to share with you guys, and don't get upset if you don't have these, is the Ursa Furiosas, because we all know how hard Forsaken exotics are to get. These are very useful and allow you to get super energy back based on how much damage you take while blocking or defending your teammates. While your teammates are in your bubble too, they gain a significant weapon buff damage. So really all you need to do with this exotic is just have a shit ton of stuff shoot at it and you stand still. If your teammates are anywhere within this circle, they're going to gain your weapons a light buff. It doesn't matter if you're facing backwards, forwards, sideways, upside down. As you can see, just by blocking that whole time, I basically have my super back, which is actually kind of ridiculous. So yeah, it's almost an infinite super loot, basically. And that's why these things are super useful, super dope, especially for raids. That's really about it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you found it helpful, please leave a like on the video. Sub if you guys are new to the channel. Also leave a comment down below if you have any questions or just want to leave a funny comment, dude. That's about all I have for you guys today. So I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.